So as Chucky said, this is directed by David Cronenberg, and if you've seen any of his movies, you know they can sometimes be a bit strange. This one follows a guy who has a ex-wife in a mental institution. And things happen with the ex-wife's family. The guy's child gets kidnapped by what seems to be mutant kids, and then other things happen toward the end. And there's also a pretty cool psychologist played by Oliver Reed, who is probably one of the best parts of the movie in my opinion. It's a strange movie, very almost like psychological. And then when it gets toward the end, there's like some body horror elements thrown in. It's not too far removed from like what you might see from Videodrome or something. It's interesting. I think it's somewhat well made. It's just my main issue has always been, and I've seen this movie twice. I just don't care that much for the story. I think it keeps you somewhat engaged, but the direction it went wasn't something I personally care much for.
Yeah, I had a bit of a tug of war between enjoyment and boredom with this one. I think there's some good scenes in the movie. Then there's a lot of parts where you just kind of sitting around and you're thinking, I'm just kind of waiting for the next thing to happen. But probably the worst thing about the movie is that school teacher's horrible hairdo.
I thought it was deeply attractive myself.
Is that sarcasm or serious?
It's probably sarcastic.
Okay, I hope so. Because that needs to go. Yeah, I've seen the movie a couple times now. There's no Cronenberg movies that I love, but I usually just enjoy them enough for me to say they're decent movies. This one's okay. I like elements to the story. I think it's interesting once it really goes along further, and obviously towards the end. But yeah, like I said, I just there's moments where you're like, there's not a whole lot happening. I'm not too interested in what they're trying to build up to here. And then suddenly you get a scene, like this mutant kid or whatever you want to call it is out there just bashing people, and you're like, oh, okay, things just really picked up, things got really interesting, and then they focus more on the dad again, and I didn't really find all that much interest in his character, aside from the fact that, he eventually is just trying to stop this stuff from happening. But yeah, that's, I guess that's more or less where I'm at with this one.
Yeah, it's a very, at times the movie seems somewhat atypical, which is probably expected from Cronenberg. I've seen maybe only, let's say, 5, 6 of his movies. I've not seen that many. Admittedly, the first time I saw this, I didn't much care for it. But, I appreciated it more this time around. I sort of like the mystery of, what's going on, what happened to the father-in-law, I found that stuff interesting. And I did like the scene with the autopsy, when they're going over, hey, this is a really strange thing that we found. So that's sort of fun. That means, the authorities actually know that, hey, something creepy is going on, and you don't necessarily see that all the time. So, I was okay with that. It just, the story, especially toward the end, when it gets more into the explanation of what's going on, it's a bit out there for me, and it's just something that, like I said, it's not really my type of thing. And one other small thing, early on in the movie, the father has a lawyer, and the lawyer tells him to go see this like guy who used to be in the same asylum his ex-wife is now in, to I guess have a joint lawsuit. And it just sort of cracked me up because this guy's like a mental patient guy's somewhat unhinged. So the idea that, hey, you should have a credible lawsuit linked with this, like lawsuit just to get, throw blame at this institution. You should join up. That just seemed like a bad lawyer decision to me. But and that whole subplot with the that guy and then the other guy who used to be in the same institution. I don't know how much it really added to the movie, in my opinion, and that's probably one of the parts I didn't care as much for. I don't know, it's just an interesting movie. which doesn't necessarily make it a good movie. I don't know. It's probably not one of my favorites, but it's okay. It's an okay movie.
Hmm. I mean, there's a couple of decent actors in here to like. Like you said, there's Oliver Reed, but I also like Samantha Eggar, if that's how you pronounce her surname. I've seen her in a couple of things, and
That's a familiar name, and I have no idea where I've seen her.
well, we saw her last week when we did Curtains. She was in that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's probably the main other thing that I've seen her in. She's done a lot of like TV work as well, but I think she's almost 90 years old now, so she's getting up there in age. I don't think she's been in anything in the last 5 to 10 years, but she was in a lot of stuff obviously earlier in her career.
Yeah, it's fun because when I saw that name come up on screen, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've seen that name recently, but I haven't had time to actually see what else she's been in. So the fact that she was just in the movie a couple of weeks ago just sort of cracks me up. And also that reminds me, there was another scene I just wanted to give kudos to, which is the scene following the father-in-law who's drinking and moaning over the loss of his ex-wife. And, just sort of stumbling up the stairs, going into his ex-wife's room, just crying, drinking. And then all of a sudden, this mutant kid jumps out, which is, I don't know, I thought that was a nice setup for that scene. That one individual who was beat to death with some hummus, with some good stuff. I have a feeling those students may be traumatized.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, I think they did it just because of her hairdo.
I'm not sure how much thought those things had, but I do appreciate your malice toward that hairdo. The funny thing is, I've seen like 15 movies since I've seen this one, but I actually don't remember what the hairdo looked like, so if you give me 1 second, I can try to find this out. Yeah, this movie, like I said, I've seen it twice. I liked it more this time around, but the story is it's too out there for me. I think it's engaging enough, and I actually thought there weren't that many scenes that were like tedious. I thought it was okay. It's not my favorite thing, but I could see myself watching it again in the future. Some nice classic Canadian horror. Nothing wrong there. Oh, and I just see the hairdo now, and I can see why you hate it. Okay, yes. I just found just a picture that says it's the worst haircut ever, so that's so funny. Anyhow, yeah, so I'm going to give this one slightly below average, just a 6.5. I enjoyed elements about it. There's just a short scene where the 2 kids are walking with the kidnapped child, just walking down like a deserted road. And it just has, I don't know, atmosphere. Even though the logic in the movie, and the ending's a bit iffy, but it's interesting movie. So 6.5, it's okay. Give it a shot.
Yeah, I give it a 6 out of 10, which is my okay rating. Like I said, there's scenes that really stand out, but then there's a whole lot of scenes in between that I just don't care for, and I'm just sitting around waiting for the next attack or whatever it is to happen, because I just didn't really care too much about some of the other supporting characters. And I mean, well, the characters at this facility, or whatever you want to call it, with Oliver Reed's character and, like I said, Samantha Eggar's character, they're interesting, but everyone else in the movie is not all that interesting to me.
Yeah, I would say without Oliver Reed, I would probably not have nearly liked this movie as much.
But I think the one thing that we can both agree on is that the best thing that David Cronenberg's ever done is appear in Jason X.
I'm probably going to disagree with that, but that's okay.
Okay, well,
David Cronenberg's best movie is probably They Came From Within, or Shivers, from 1975. Just a trivia piece for you guys.
Yeah, well, agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Anyone listening, just add a comment and let us know who you agree with. I'm sure anyone who's watching this is like a fan of The Brood or something, and they're just going to shit on my comment, but whatever.